And at number 10, Rickey Gervais. Easily the most talked about on this list was Rickey Gervais' monologue, because it was clear he was intending to shock the audience with this speech. Gervais hosted the 2020 Golden Globe Awards at a time when so many celebrities were getting into hot water, and he didn't try to shy away from any of it. This 8-minute monologue took aim at the celebrities in the audience, and it was a delight to watch to the regular people around the world. During the speech, Gervais singled out Prince Andrew, Jeffrey Epstein, and the woke Hollywood. After giving the speech on a podcast, Gervais said he asked himself beforehand, quote, "Do I pander to the 200 egos in the room or to the 200 million people watching around the world? And there's no contest." One of the main criticisms of award shows these days is that they get too political, and Gervais addressed this head-on in his speech. He told the celebrities in the audience, quote, "You're in no position to lecture the public about anything.
If you win, right? Come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and f*** off."
He then trashed the actors for being against harmful labor practices, but working for exploitative companies like Apple and Amazon. And at number 9, Rebel Wilson. Rebel Wilson hosted the 2022 BAFTA Film Awards, and her opening monologue was pretty controversial, dropping the jaws of many of the attendees. Rebel Wilson took the opportunity to announce that she was the next James Bond and to reveal a Daniel Craig tattoo live on stage. After announcing her role as the next Bond, she said,
"And because of the gender pay gap, I actually won't be called 007, I'll be 004.5.
During her speech, Rebel also addressed her dramatic weight loss, donning a sparkling red gown and saying, quote, "I might look a bit different from the last time you saw me here." Then adding, quote, "I hope JK Rowling still approves." Then continuing, "Guys, seriously, I didn't lose weight just for a guy, I did it to get more acting roles. I'm now so excited I can play the non-funny love interest in an Adam Sandler movie." She finished off the monologue by saying, quote, "In all sign languages, this is the gesture for Putin," before raising her middle finger. And at number 8, Michael Moore. After Moore won the award for his documentary Bowling for Columbine at the 2003 Oscars, he came on stage and gave one of the most hated acceptance speeches of all time. Accepting his award, Moore slammed then President George W. Bush.
"We like nonfiction and we live in fictitious times. We live in a time where we have fictitious election results, where we have a man sending us to war for fictitious reasons."
But it seemed the audience was not on board with his messaging, and he was actually getting booed loudly during the speech. Moore later said about the speech, quote, "As soon as I said fictitious times and the fictitious election results, there was a ton of sound, primarily boos. I could barely hear myself speak. It was like I had ignited a riot."
"We are against this war, Mr. Bush. Shame on you, Mr. Bush. Shame on you."
And at number 7, Sinead O'Connor. Sinead O'Connor was at the peak of her career when she was asked to perform on SNL, but the live performance did not go as planned and her statements had serious repercussions. O'Connor performed on SNL in October of 1992, but SNL was probably wishing that she didn't, because O'Connor ended the performance by holding up a picture of Pope John Paul II, ripping it up, and stating, quote, "Fight the real enemy," obviously offending millions of people in the process. The show quickly cut after they saw what happened, but the damage was already done, and tons of angry calls came in. One audience member even tried to assault O'Connor and had to be removed by security. Not only was O'Connor banned from SNL and most likely ever hosting anything again, her career never recovered. And at number 6, Angelina Jolie. This is easily Angelina Jolie's strangest moment, and I can't believe more people don't talk about how insane it was. Jolie showed up to the 2000 Academy Awards very excited for the night to come, because she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for Girl Interrupted. But her time on the red carpet was a shock to everyone. She came with her brother James Haven, who she kissed on the mouth at the red carpet. Things were even stranger when she won the award and said during her speech,
"And I'm so in love with my brother right now." He just held me and said he loved me.
After the strange moment, nobody could figure out what even happened and if their relationship could potentially be romantic. Jolie later said nothing romantic happened between them, and their parents actually loved this display of affection, but it's very strange still. Halfway number 5, Kanye West. Everyone knows about this mess. Taylor Swift went up to the stage to accept her award for You Belong With Me at the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards. And before she could finish, Kanye West trashed the whole thing. He stole the mic and said to the crowd,
"Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
Swift was mortified, and Beyonce could not believe what was happening. Kanye later admitted on Ellen that the incident gave him so much bad publicity, he left America and stayed in Japan, Rome, and even Hawaii to let things settle down. This event also started their decade-long feud that's still ongoing. In at number 4, Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam got in some hot water when they accepted an award and didn't really care. The band got a Grammy for Best Hard Rock Performance for Spin the Black Circle. The band seemed pretty shocked about the win. I guess they assumed that someone else was going to get the award instead. Eddie Vedder said on stage,
"Well, we just came to relax. I just wanted to watch the show."
Almost like they didn't want the hassle of coming up to accept the award. They also trashed the award show in general when they said,
"I don't know what this means. I don't think it means anything."
He finished off the lukewarm speech by saying, "Thanks, I guess," to the crowd. If I was a fan of this band, I would not have been happy about that. In at number 3, Sam Smith. Things got a bit awkward when Sam Smith was a bit too self-congratulatory and claimed they were the first openly gay person to win an award when they won the 2016 Academy Award for Best Original Song for their James Bond theme, The Writings on the Wall.
I read an article a few months ago by Sir Ian McKellen, and he said that no openly gay man had ever won an Oscar. I want to dedicate this to the LGBT community all around the world.
Many thought it was crazy that Smith wouldn't have known that legendary singers like Elton John had won the award before them. Smith was later called out for this mistake and later apologized, blaming the mistake on drinks they had beforehand. In at number 2, Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro is a very private person and he pretty rarely is outspoken about his personal beliefs. But during one accepted speech he went off the rails and offended many people watching at home. Taking the stage at the 2018 Tony Awards, he couldn't help but talk about the controversial US President Donald Trump.
I'm going to say one thing, Trump. It's no longer down with Trump, it's Trump.
Many in the crowd cheered on this speech, but many Americans watching at home did not like how De Niro blasted the president to the entire world. This was not a huge shock to De Niro fans, as he said in the past about how awful that he thinks Trump is. It's also been reported that Trump and De Niro have only met once, so people are not sure how he was able to form such a bad opinion so fast. And finally, number 1, Seth McFarlane. I don't think there's any way that a monologue by comedian Seth MacFarlane would not be controversial, but his 2013 speech at the Oscars took the cake. The comedian was asked to host the Academy Awards, a pretty shocking decision since this is the man responsible for Family Guy. He also likes to sing, so his monologue was a song in part. The song he performed was called, quote, "We Saw Your Boobs," and named plenty of women in the audience that had been nude for a role before, mentioning everyone from Meryl Streep to Naomi Watts. He had a choir of men singing with him about how happy they were to have seen all of their breasts. Very gross. Charlize Theron probably had the worst reaction, hiding her face in her hands when the camera panned to her. This was the tip of the iceberg. He also shared how women would give themselves the flu to prep for roles, and also made a joke about the Chris Brown and Rihanna incident. I'm sure the Oscars learned their lesson after that one.
Kicking off our list, number 10 is Steve Harvey. He has many years of hosting on his resume, so he was the perfect candidate to host the 2015 Miss Universe pageant. But even with years of experience, that was not enough to prevent this from happening. He went to announce the winner of the national contest, but accidentally said the wrong person. He was just reading from a card and didn't notice it until after the whole crowd and Miss Universe was already celebrating her win. Like, she literally had the crown on her head already. He then had to announce to everyone that she was not the winner, and it was just incredibly awkward and embarrassing. It was hard to even witness and watch the clip. He came under a lot of fire for the mistake, and people were even booing him while he was on stage. They even had to awkwardly remove the crown from Miss Colombia and then put it on Miss Philippines' head, and it was just one of like the most cringe-worthy moments I've ever seen happen at an award show. Steve, of course, took full responsibility and said that he read the card wrong, but people were not happy about it. Sliding into number 9 is John Travolta. He can't blame this mistake on reading a card wrong. This mistake is something he had to take full responsibility for. We're not sure how it happened, but John was in charge of introducing an artist at the 2014 Oscar Awards. Idina Menzel was performing her iconic song, Let It Go, from the Disney movie Frozen, which actually went on to win the Oscar for Best Original Song. So her performance was a big deal, and one that she as a performer would probably probably always remember. Except she won't, because John did not say her name when he announced her performance. He did say a name, but it wasn't hers. I'm not sure what explanation he had, but he mispronounced her name and said something completely different. He announced her as Adele Dazeem. Her name is Idina Menzel. He did apologize to her after the awards, and they went on to make a joke out of it at a future Oscar award show. In our number 8 spot is Neil Patrick Harris. The Oscars are one of the biggest award shows in the industry, and it's safe to say that all celebrities dress up for the evening wearing long gowns and tailored suits. But Neil had a different attire in mind for the evening and went on stage in nothing but his underwear. He did a sketch that was a spoof from the Best Picture winner, Birdman, and it ended with him in little white briefs facing the audience in his underwear. People were shocked, as some would say the Oscars might not have been the time and place for something like that, but some people still had a good laugh. People were probably just worried how he would behave at future talk shows if he was asked to host or announce another winner. It probably wasn't the most appropriate choice for the event, but he did it with confidence. Cruising into number 7 is Lady Gaga. Her meat dress has gone down in history for a few different reasons, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me fill you in or refresh your memory. Lady Gaga showed up to the 2010 MTV Music Awards in a dress that was made out of raw meat. Not only the dress, but she had a matching headpiece and boots that were also red, bloody looking raw meat. A lot of people were offended by it, especially vegetarians and vegans, as you can imagine. Animal rights activists were also disgusted and angry about her decision, and she had a lot of explaining to do in the media after that. She went on the Ellen DeGeneres show after the awards and said it was no disrespect to anyone who is vegan or vegetarian, and said it was tied to her protest against the military's don't ask, don't tell policy. She also explained that it went with her recent cover for Vogue Japan, where she wore a meat bikini to symbolize that she is not a piece of meat, although she's wearing a piece of meat. While people could appreciate the message that she was trying to put out there may have been a better way of going about it. Moving on to number 6, we have Katy Perry. She definitely stole the show at the 2008 Latin American Awards, and all for the wrong reasons. She is known for being an epic performer who usually has a lot of fun costumes and props incorporated into her performances. So when she showed up to the awards and brought a giant cake on stage during her performance, people weren't that surprised. But they were surprised with what happened as the song went on. She started by standing above the giant pink cake, which was real by the way, and during the song she jumps on it, doing a belly flop directly into the cake. After she climbed out of the cake, she could not walk or stand because she was covered in icing and kept slipping. Her guitar player was trying to help her stand up, but every time she got up, she fell again. She ended up having to crawl off the stage. Halfway through our list, at number 5 is Kristen Stewart. One of the most embarrassing things that can happen to an artist is dropping the award when winning it. A speech can be enough pressure when you win an award, having to walk up on stage and gracefully put into words what it means to you while an entire crowd watches you and the world watches you behind their screens. Kristen won Best Female Performance at the 2009 MTV Movie Awards and won herself a golden popcorn statue. While she was accepting her award, she ended up dropping her golden popcorn statue and it broke. Viewers gasped and it was just very awkward and an embarrassing moment to watch, but she did handle it with grace. The woman in charge of handling the trophies, Susanna Della Rosa, said they actually ship the awards back to New York before the artist actually gets them to engrave them. So Kristen did receive a new one that was not broken. Up next, number 4 is Jennifer Lawrence. Bless her heart, she had one of the most embarrassing moments captured on camera for the world to see, but she did handle it like a champ. It was at the Oscar Awards when she was called up on stage to receive the Best Actress Award for her role in The Silver Lining Playbook. That's a moment that every artist probably dreams about and plans out in their head how they would do it. She could have rehearsed winning the award as many times as she wanted, but it still wasn't enough to prevent her fall from happening. That is right, as she was walking up the stairs on the stage to get her award, she tripped and fell down. She ended up just staying on the stairs for a minute on the ground, just laughing to herself and covering her face from the camera. After the award, she explained what happened and said that she remembers her stylist telling her to kick and walk, meaning kick the dress out while you walk, and she just got distracted and forgot. The dress tucked under her feet and she went down. It was pretty much game over from there. Taking over the number 3 spot is Madonna. Speaking of falling, another beautiful woman who happened to fall during the worst time possible in front of the whole world. This one was painful to watch for a few reasons. 1, because it is so embarrassing and you just feel so bad for her, and 2, because she fell down a set of stairs backwards, which we can imagine would be very painful. It was during her performance at the 2015 Brit Awards when she was wearing a cape that was apparently tied too tight around her neck. What was supposed to happen was she was going to untie the cape at the top of the stairs, and the dancers were to pull the cape off of her from the bottom of the stairs. Well, they did that, but the cape did not come undone. Madonna later explained what happened and said she was told to tie the cape tighter so that it wouldn't fall off throughout the performance. So when she went to untie it, it did not come undone, but the dancers were pulling it, so they basically strangled her and yanked her backwards, and that is how she fell. She ended up hitting the back of her head on the floor and had whiplash from it. She was okay, but she did vow to never perform using a cape ever again. Sliding into number 2 is Miley Cyrus. Her 2013 VMAs performance with Robin Thicke was one of the most talked about performances of all time. It caused a ton of controversy, way more than anyone ever expected. Miley went on stage in a skin-colored two-piece and twerked on Robin Thicke while holding a giant foam finger. That's just like a little piece of the whole performance, so go watch it. People threw Miley in the fire for her outfit, her actions, which were pretty provocative, and dancing on Robin, who was a married man. When I say she received heat for it, I mean she took the heat for it. She explained they were both in rehearsals prior to that and said that he had no problem with the twerking and choreography, so it didn't make sense that she was just getting heat for the fact that he is married. The performance was one to remember, to say the least, and if you have not seen it, go watch. It's pretty epic. Earning the number 1 place on our list is Kanye West. It was back in 2009 at the MTV Awards when Kanye did the unthinkable and started a feud that lasted for a decade. Taylor Swift won an award which she was really excited about, but then Kanye had to take that excitement away from her. While she was giving her acceptance speech, Kanye climbed on the stage, took the mic from her, and announced to everyone that he thinks Beyonce should have won the award. He let everyone know that Beyonce's music video for Put a Ring on It was one of the best videos of all time. The audience was in complete shock, including Beyonce, who just looked completely mortified and embarrassed. Taylor looked shocked and honestly didn't even know what to say. Beyonce later apologized to Taylor on Kanye's behalf because she had nothing to do with it and was happy for Taylor receiving her award. Kanye, however, did not apologize.